Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delapiano. And it is the 28th of June, and this is your short take, and it is still Gay Pride Month. So we're going to talk tonight about Stonewall. Stonewall took place 54 years ago this very day. And we can argue about whether or not it started the gay rights movement. It probably didn't start the gay rights movement, but it certainly galvanized the gay rights movement to become more bold and outspoken and more active. So just exactly what was Stonewall? So in New York City, on Christopher Street, there was the Stonewall Inn. And in 1969, in New York City and in many cities, the very essence of being gay was illegal. Okay, people were jailed for being gay. People were disowned by their families for being gay. People lost their jobs for being gay. And it was literally illegal, okay? And consequently, gay life was very lonely for people, except for places where they could go that were refuges for them. And the Stonewall Inn was one such refuge. And it was constantly the scene of police raids. And usually the patrons of that bar were tipped off that the police were coming, mostly because it was owned by a mafia family, the Genovese family. And you didn't need a liquor license there because the patrons were to bring their own alcohol in. They didn't serve alcohol like a traditional bar. So on this particular night, there was no warning. The bar was raided. And the gay, lesbian, transgender community had finally had it. And they chose to fight back. There were also patrons of the bar who weren't gay. They were gay allies. And it spilled out onto the street. There is a report that one lesbian was hit over the head by the police before she was put in the car to be taken downtown to be booked. And it sparked, people just got angry. They started throwing, pebbles and all kinds of small little items at the cops. And it just blew into a riot. And this battle lasted until July 3rd. So it started on the 28th of June and lasted for just about 6 days. And it was galvanizing force for the gay movement. It was the first time they had ever stood up, the first time they hadn't cowered, in the presence of the police. And it led to the creation of several groups that then began to advocate for gay and lesbian and transgender rights. The Human Rights Campaign, the Gay Liberation Front, the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, PFLAG, which used to be Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, and GLAD, which was once called Gay and Lesbian Advocates and Defenders. And that was a bunch of legal people who got together to help out. And thus, a movement was actually galvanized to go out actively and create change. But there's a bigger story here that I want to talk about. Back in those days, gay people and transgender people stood shoulder to shoulder in that battle. And, I don't understand where that has gone. As a lesbian, I don't understand how gay people can now turn tail and run scared and make comments like someone said to me, well, you know, our rights are going to go away because we've hitched our wagon to the transgender community. I don't get it. I don't get how you can actually forget where you came from. You were the transgender community back then. They stood for you, and they were more marginalized than you were. We have become the I, me, mine group here, and it's unfortunate because I want you to understand something. Where we are right here, right now in America, you don't have to blame anyone else for you losing your rights except for yourselves. And that's a fact. Because if you think the GOP and the MAGA Republicans and the bigots in this country are coming after the gay community simply because you're allied to the transgender community, you're out of your fucking minds. I'm going to say that again. You're out of your fucking minds. Because in fact, the GOP has lied at every turn about Roe v. Wade. They have. Roe v. Wade and gay marriage were argued on the very same basis, on the basis of privacy. Okay? And if you do not think for a nanosecond that the most extreme elements in this country, now that they've gotten Roe out of the way, if they're back in power again, won't come after gay marriage, you're crazy. You're crazy. Okay? Because Clarence Thomas himself alluded to that when he overturned Roe. Believe what they're telling you when they tell you who they are. But this notion that you are now a bunch of chicken shits who are going to blame another group, a group that is even being abused worse than you are, instead of standing with them, you're going to blame them for your misfortune. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with this country? We don't give a shit about each other anymore. And, you know, don't ever kid yourselves. That lack of caring for other people is exactly why we are where we are today. This is exactly what they did in Nazi Germany. Okay? They pointed the finger elsewhere. They didn't stand up for someone else. And when it became their turn to be harassed, bullied, tormented, tortured, and incarcerated in camps, no one was there to stand up for them. I'm asking everybody here to understand this. 2024 is coming. You need to mobilize everybody. Take a look at what's going on with transgender people in Florida. You think you had it bad? These are people who can't even get medical care. They're taking the decisions out of the parents' hands by passing oppressive, horrendous laws. And you can't stand up for these people because you're afraid that they might see you. They might turn the flashlight on you. Shame on you. Shame on all of you. Okay? I actually thought we were all better than that. But I guess we're not, because we're all just worried about maintaining the status quo. And by the way, we're really not done yet, okay? Just because we won the right to marry and be as miserable as the rest of the heterosexual people, we still can be fired just for being gay in 26 states in this country, okay? We haven't passed the Equality Act yet. We haven't passed. The Equality Act came from the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, which I started championing in 1996, and it still hasn't been passed. We're not done yet. You know what? You need to wake up, everyone, and you need to celebrate gay and transgender pride. And you need to get your acts together, and you need to stand side by side. Because why? Because every marginalized group of people in this country, we're stronger when we're all together. We are stronger when we are all together. Get your shit together. I'll talk to you guys later.